Hi everyone, it's Fu Manchu Cosplay. Welcome back to me styling an opal doll. Before we actually get into the work on the doll, I want to say thank you to each of the artists that created all of this beautiful imagery. It's so wonderful and it really helped inspire me to get through the process of creating opal in the form of a Monster High doll. Alright, now that we've seen some images of Opal, let's go ahead and work on her face so we can get this thing done. What I've started out with is taking some Mungyo chalk pastels, and I've rubbed them on this piece of paper and I'm scraping them up with a paintbrush to give the doll some blush. She's had 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear out in the garage and plenty of time for that to set up, so it'll hold on. Essentially what Mr. Super Clear does is it gives you almost a paper-like texture, and you can draw on that with watercolor pencils. You can also erase off of that, which you will see quite a bit of here soon, because I had a lot of challenges with the eyes. The pencils that I'm using to try and sketch the doll's eye in are Faber-Castells. I got mine off of eBay. I want to say I paid $6 or $7 for the set of 48. These pencils are amazing. They are very pigmented and they work wonderfully with the combination of Mr. Super Clear. So if you're looking to try this hobby, I would strongly recommend that you go ahead and invest in these. I've tried other brands for doing this, like the Michaels in-house brand and Staedtler, and I really haven't had as much success. So if you're gonna buy them right, buy them once. Once I got the eye shape right by adjusting what I had sketched in with an eraser, I finally was able to start drawing the eyes into the doll. And you can see I'm having some challenges here, and I'm still trying to flesh it out and get the shape to be good and symmetrical. And doing that can be kind of hard. You'll see that I flip the head around several times while I'm working. This is to help me get into a good position on the doll, and also to help create symmetry because it's just easier to do it that way. Now we're finally getting into some color. At this point, I am using Faber-Castells to go ahead and sketch in some of what's going on. I started to try and use the white pencil to fill in the whites of the eye and to give her the wrinkle on the upper eyelid. I didn't have a lot of success with the pencil, and I have to tell you, I'm not the most patient person in the world. You can layer the pencil with Mr. Super Clear, but I actually prefer to use the acrylic paints right out the gate because it brightens it so much, and I really appreciate that sense of instant gratification that you get. Now, Opal has white hair, so I wanted to give her white eyebrows so things would look more uniform. I went ahead and just used acrylic paint because, again, I really like that sense of instant gratification you can get just from using the paint straight away. Now, I did go ahead and outline these in purple pencil as well to really give them some body and make them pop up on the doll's face. Also, I goofed. I know, I should not have made her lips pink. I promise that will be fixed by the time the video reaches its end. But for now, that's what they're gonna look like. Okay, so at this point, I have taken the doll out to the garage and given her another coat of Mr. Super Clear. I've heard Delightful say it before, so I'll quote her. Essentially what you're doing is sealing the layer. Like if you were working in Photoshop, you've now merged another layer on top, and you can work on top of that to go ahead and put more layers of color onto what you're working on. To be completely honest with you, my poor viewer, I had a lot of trouble with this. I got my colors to a point where they were chipping. You can see it here. I'm like, no, stop, please no. I'm also trying to get the lightness to come back into the irises because I went a little bit too deep with the navy blue that I was working with. But in the end, it does turn out okay. It's not unsalvageable, but it is a challenge. I also apologize. I know that I kind of drifted really low with the head and got out of the scope of the camera. But I think it's important for you guys to see that I do make mistakes. I am completely human, and you guys can absolutely do this hobby. It's totally within your realm. You can do it. It's fun. And when you get to the end, it's really gratifying. See, look, I'm so sorry I apologized twice. So at this point, I have fixed the doll's head. A lot of the footage was not usable. But look at how pretty she is! Oh my god! I'm so happy with her. And there's the Mr. Super Clear. And my little kitty's butt. That's Ginger, everyone. I'm also having some problems here because this clay is real old. But I'm also real cheap. So I just mixed it with a little bit of baby oil and massaged it out. What you're seeing now is I took a platform and I put clay onto it to give myself something to work on. I put the doll on it with the plastic to keep her feet clean. And now I'm glossing her eyes so they look like they are bright and they have life. Same thing with her lips. I want them to look moist. Everybody loves that word, right? And now we've got some eyebrows coming in. I tried to do this with tacky glue on one side. Tacky glue sucks. Don't use tacky glue. If you want to use something that will work, super glue is what's up. I was so happy with the doll at this point. What I'm doing now is I'm doing a test fit to see for what I'm going to do with the base once it's finished. And of course, I put her head back on at this point. So she's bald. I mean, one punch anybody? Once I had baked the clay, I took it and I gave it a good base paint of a dark green to camouflage everything and get rid of how ugly some of the things were. I used moss from like diorama sets to go ahead and pump even more life into it. I happen to have these flowers around my house too, and I thought they were a beautiful accent to the strawberries. If you've ever seen strawberries just growing, they have cute little white flowers and it is much aesthetic. I love it. I needed to take a break at this point and let things dry. I also had run out of moss and flowers. I didn't want to go too crazy with the strawberries either because they're really big. Oh, and I also put some bracelets onto Opal to give her a little bit more on her upper body. Now, what I'm showing you at this point is how I make hair for dolls. I promise you, Opal is not going to be a blonde. If you've ever been to my Etsy shop, which is also Fu Manchu Cosplay, you'll see that I sell pearls as props to Blue Diamond and Yellow Diamond cosplayers. They're really cool, they're really cute, you know, check them out if you want to. That's cool. Should I say cool again? Because I feel like I said it a lot there, I'm sorry. Now the point of this is that after you brush out the yarn, you need to use a low setting on your flat iron. That's going to give you those silky, fluffy locks that make it so you're not buying wig fiber. Wig fiber can be kind of difficult to use, and for me, I don't find it as gratifying when I work on dolls, especially after the reroute process. I think I watched the entire season 3 of Orange is the New Black and rerouted one doll. One. That happened to be the first doll that I ever worked on, and unfortunately, she is not my best work. Now, I'm using Fabri-Tac to create wefts. Wefts are awesome. That's actually how we accomplished this look. These are just wefts that have been wrapped around a piece of yarn to create the cascading ponytail. And at this point, we are adding hair directly to the doll. I'm putting these wefts in so they're over her face or backwards. That way, when they come back, they have more volume. My intention, which you'll eventually see, is to put them back up into the ponytail to give it even more volume and give a smooth transition with the completion of the project. I also glued in the side tails for the doll at this point, and then I realized I had made some boo-boos and I needed to use a lot more glue. Now, I'm turning the doll upside down so I can put wefts in to cover the underside of her hairline. I'm also going ahead and covering up Calamari's kind of octopus ears, because Opal, as far as we know, doesn't have ears, right? We've never seen them. There's one other thing that's happened here as Ginger passes through. I've taken just a good old lunch bag twist tie and wrapped it around the top layer of the hair to give it some control. I loop it around a second time once those bottom wefts are installed, so everything is going to stay up on the doll's head. And there goes Ginger again. My little kitty is nosy. Now, at this point, the doll did not have bangs. These are also going in backwards, and they'll become the tails that hang down in the front of her. They transition into the first set that I installed. The way that I did this caused there to be a lot of volume to appear to be on this doll, in spite of the fact that there probably could have been a lot more wefts. And I'm just repeating that for the other side so that the doll's...
All I wanna do is help you turn into a giant woman, a giant woman. All I wanna be is someone who gets to see a giant woman. Oh, I know it'll be great, and I just can't wait to see the person you are together. If you give it a chance, you could do a huge dance, because you are a giant woman. You might even like being together, and if you don't, it won't be forever. But if it were me, I'd really wanna be a giant woman, a giant woman. All I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman.